Hi guys, my name is Nonima Tikela. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want us to talk about Sibiya, Muzi Sibiya. He took the stand on the Senzo Meyiwa case when he was giving his first day testimony regarding what happened to him when he got arrested for the Senzo Meyiwa matter. Before we get into doing that, guys, please make sure you do not forget to like, to share, to comment, and most importantly, please make sure you are subscribed on the channel. Please make sure you are watching the videos up until the end and you are watching the ads that are coming through. So I'm just going to do what you call a summary, a quick summary of what happened when he got arrested. So that's what we are doing. I like how Umnisi did an opening scene for Usbiya so that he can sit there and be very comfortable so that he can tell his story himself the way he sees it fit. I like how he made him very comfortable. I liked it. I don't want to lie. He told him how he must take a chill. That's not what he used, but I'm just going to do a summary. So I'm using my own words. So he told him to relax, be as free as possible. I like also what to judge Rata at some point. He said, he asked if he wants to sit down or no, he said he can sit down. I think that's what he said. He can sit down. And he was like, no, for now, I prefer to stand. So Umuzibia stood as the first defense witness in that High Court in Pretoria for the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. We know this. And the defense was led by Advocate Charles Mnisi for Sibiya, and he began to lead about the alleged assaults, arrest, and mistreatment by police officials. The state, most you would remember that they had alleged that Usibia had made a confession after his arrest in May 2020 and had done a pointing out of the crime scene in Vosloorus. These are the things that we already know. And Usibia, in return, he denied ever confessing or playing any role in the murder of Senzo Meyiwa and contended that the alleged confession was coerced. He says he was coerced to do that. So his version of being assaulted and coerced starts as follows. He said that back in 2019, officers had intercepted him while he was sitting outside a shop with his friends in Tembisa. He was then questioned about Meyiwa's death, which he denied knowing anything about. That was the first time. It was March 2019. He claimed the officers said they had information he was involved and then he was assaulted. In particular, he alleged one of them took a plastic and covered his face, his nose with that plastic. Okay? And he couldn't breathe as they were covering his nose. Others were busy stepping on me, them kaba kick boboza kind of vibes. And then he further described how, after being told he was under suspicion, officers cuffed him, pulled him up, searched him, and confiscated 2 cell phones. He testified that a white man took photographs of him before he was put into a red Golf car and transported to the Tabok. That one now happens in 2020. Let's keep together, okay? And then at one point, he demonstrated in court how he was forced to squat or pretend to sit on a non-existent chair under coercion. A chair, like that's how painful the situation is. He confirmed that the events he described took place during COVID-19 period, which was 2020 in May, and yes, that was May the 30th. So those are some of the things that he told us about. Before going further to other things, I like how Nisi made sure that Usibia at any given time, he is free, he speaks, and I like that he told him, you are a soft speaker, I'm going to need you to speak louder than usual. You need to be loud. Everybody needs to hear you. And I'm sure he was also doing it for the record so that the record can hear him. Yeah, but I was so impressed with how Missy was dealing with the entire situation. And then the other part that I liked is that Usibia, yes, he was able to what you call when you someone, yeah, he was able to express himself the way that he needed to express himself. He speaks the isiZulu language, and the interpreter puts it in English so that the record can keep up with what. But I'm not sure about the Zulu of the interpreter, the English, okay. But the isiZulu, it sounds like it's mixed with the Ndebele language. It's not a proper Zulu. They should have asked for, because these guys are coming from the Zululand, the basics home of Zulu. When I say the basic, where you will get proper isiZulu language spoken. Just like in Eastern Cape, people can speak a lot of isiXhosa, but there are places where isiXhosa is spoken very well. So these guys are from such places where you will find the proper isiXhosa being spoken thoroughly. So that's what we are dealing with here. Do you understand? We're dealing with that. And one of the other things that I like the most is also that Umuzi, while he was on the hot seat, he was calm, he was relaxed, and I believe he's going to be like this also during the cross-examination because he has nothing to hide. And also the mere fact that he is also alluding to the invisible torture that he suffered during his arrest. He claims torture was the order of business at that time, forced to sit in that invisible chair. I like how he puts his points across. I like that. I appreciate how he comes and puts his points across. And then he says that the cops covered his head with a plastic bag. They covered his head with a plastic bag. So he was dealing with his arrest, how they arrested him and how they treated him during his arrest. And he also testified that he was arrested by a lady named Miss Baloyi, a constable or whatever, Baloyi, and a Mr. Mudau, a Mrs. or a Miss Baloyi and a Mr. Mudau. I like how he puts his memory back to life by actually telling us all the details of everything that happened. I appreciate that about Umuzi very much. I appreciate that. He's doing a very wonderful job, if you ask me. He's doing a very wonderful job, doing great. For now, whatever evidence that he is giving, in my view, he has not derailed a lot. No, let me not say he has not derailed a lot. He has not derailed at all. That's the right way. He is still saying the same thing that he said during the trial within a trial. He is still within. That's what I heard when he was talking. So also he talks about Gininda. Gininda was present when he allegedly went to do the so-called confession. Gininda denied this, you would remember that. He also talked about how he was still beaten up even there. And the other thing that he denied is going to, he did go to Chlorocop in 2019. There is a place that Gininda says that they went to from Vosloorus. And this guy, which is Umuzi Sibiya, he says, no, we did not go to any other place. We went straight to Diepkloof. And Gininda told us otherwise, Kesan. He told us otherwise, Kesan. So that's the quickest summary that I wanted to do about Muzi Sibiya's evidence, first testimony that he gave in court. I must say, I was so impressed with how he went about the way he was dealt with by the police, which was not nice at all. But I'm hopeful that he's gonna put us put us in confidence even more today when he continues with his evidence. I'm happy with what he has given so far, and I am happy with Umnisi so far. You know us, we are not going to keep quiet. If things happen, we are going to start talking. I'm impressed. I must say, I'm very much impressed with everything that Umnisi has done yesterday. I pray that today it will continue being the best of everything. So let's go and see what is going to happen next. What's going to happen next with everything that Umnisi is going to be doing today. I'm impressed, I'm not going to lie. One thing that we have learned is that Uginita did not do any investigations when it comes to this case. Absolutely none. That's what we are learning. Every day when we have someone speaking, we learn that Gininda did no investigation when it comes to the Senzo Mewa case. He just pulled people through to do what he wants. And that's it. That's it. And the funny part is that yesterday we were dealing with, it was Monday the 13th, we were dealing with the Sibias. Sibia Muzi on the Senzo Mewa case, Shedrack Sibia on the ad hoc committee. We're going to do another video about that. Thank you so much, guys. I will see you on our next video. Thank you so much. There is something else that happened there where Umnisi no Judge Rata kind of, I guess Judge Rata was misunderstanding what was being said. He is a king of misunderstanding. You don't know at times whether he's intentional or what, but at some point, I found him misunderstanding what Umnisi was saying. Are you saying this is not what Aibo say? Of course, the firearms and the DRUG that were found in Tembisa have nothing to do with the Senzo Meyiwa case. What is it that Judge Rata was not understanding there? What is it that Judge Rata was not understanding there? Like, tell me. I was so bored with him, Shem. I don't want to lie. He really bored me there. Honestly, I was bored. So we're going to see what's going to happen on the next video. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.